After trying to beat Donkey Kong Country Returns with no bananas, I was super excited to check out the sequel, Tropical Freeze. However, this time I'm going about it a little differently. Every level will still be looked at individually, but we're not just writing off impossible levels. That's right, I've officially lost it and have decided to go for minimum bananas in every single stage. This was one hell of an undertaking and a massive increase in workload from the last video, so I'll be splitting it up into parts. For today, we're looking at the Lost Mangroves, and we'll cover the rest of the worlds in the near future. Why am I making an entire video on a single world? To put it in perspective, I almost played more hours for this video than I did for the entirety of my Returns run. This was absolutely insane, and by a landslide the hardest challenge I've attempted in a game, so strap in for a wild ride. As for rules, literally everything is allowed aside from multiplayer and funky mode. I have the Wii U version that doesn't have funky mode, and I don't have anybody to help with multiplayer, but I would love to see someone else try and improve my scores with those features. There's a lot to discuss, so let's jump right into the first level, Mangrove Cove. The challenge doesn't waste any time getting started, since we're immediately presented with a water slide covered in bananas. A roll jump easily clears the obstacle and introduces us to swimming, something completely absent from Returns. I'm curious to see how water levels go in this challenge, but for now let's look at the rest of the level. Oh, this is interesting already. I can barely land on the edges to avoid the bananas, which is something I'll be doing a lot in this run. Even after making my way to this rock and breaking it though, there doesn't seem to be a way through. Or is there? Even though we don't have a playable Funky Kong in the Wii U version, he's still going to be an invaluable asset to us thanks to his shop, Funky's Flying By. Here we can purchase a ton of useful items, and I'll be talking about them as they become relevant. Here what we want is a Diddy Barrel, which automatically gives us Diddy Kong at the start of the level. With my little buddy on my back, I roll off the tree and hover through the bananas, bypassing the first hurdle of the run. Nice. Things are pretty simple for a while after that. I had to stand on a couple more edges and make a few awkward jumps, but after Returns it was all pretty easy for me. Then I got to this. Uh-oh. This barrel section is obviously going to force a bunch of bananas onto me, but I'll do my best to minimize the damage. By timing my shots and even shooting down the middle here, I was able to get only 12 bananas, and I don't think a lower number is possible. Shortly after this section is a super long line of bananas. I tried roll jumping with Diddy Kong, but I just barely didn't get enough distance. Thankfully, by waiting for these penguins to get a little closer, I was able to jump on their heads and skip every banana. Aside from getting jump scared by this mess, that's everything to say about this level. I'm glad I decided to go for minimum bananas this time. Now each and every stage has a ton more potential. Our grand total sits at 12 after just one stage, so hopefully Shipwreck Shore doesn't add too many more. The level begins with a low jump to dodge some bananas and... God damn it. I tried to jump off this bird, but even when the ship was at its lowest point in the water, I wasn't all that close. So I exited the level and jumped back over to Funky's shop for some more power-ups. The Dixie Barrel and Cranky Barrel give you their respective Kong at the start of the level, just like the Diddy Barrel. Dixie Kong is, if we're being honest, just a better version of Diddy in almost every case, and Cranky allows us to turn into Scrooge McDuck and pogo off things. Unfortunately, neither Kong was able to help us here. Cranky didn't even get close, and Dixie just barely came up short each and every time. After over 20 minutes, I caved and decided to collect one single banana. That allowed me to cling to the vine for height, fall off, and use Dixie's twirl to reach the ship. After getting up there, I immediately broke this box for some reason, which gave me a bunch of bananas. Oops. This is far from the last time I'll mess up like this, so allow me to show you what I do when this happens. Leave the level, come back in, and play the level normally until I get back to where I was. Is this cheating? Don't care. I'm trying to see what is and isn't possible, and making myself miserable isn't going to help me figure it out. Trust me, this was hard enough to route as it is. I really wish I had save states so none of this was necessary in the first place, but let's get back to the run. The level is pretty standard for a while until I got to this part where I was super close to grabbing these bananas underwater. After that though, nothing could stop me. These boxes didn't give me bananas right away like I was worried about, and this raft section is a complete joke. I literally just crouched in place the entire time until I got to the end and finished off the stage. Only one banana was required here, which is frustrating, but still a lot lower than the first at least. Canopy Chaos was up next, and for this one I tried to make as much progress as I could without getting rid of Dixie from the last level. She carried me about halfway through, and this level was honestly a ton of fun. First I had to land on the very edge of this platform to lower it and bounce off the fish being shot at me by the enemy. Then I had to carefully climb these trees and even use this bug for a boost. There's a barrel section at the top, but lucky for us, the only path with bananas is totally optional. And that's the first checkpoint. So far so good. Because I got hit by a bug, I didn't have the health necessary to get past this section, so I died and tried to finish with Cranky. This worked totally fine, and with the power of Cranky's stick, I damaged myself on the blades and hopped over all the bananas. That's great, but immediately after we find more unavoidable bananas because of this barrel launch. Yippee. Thankfully, after accepting those 9 bananas, the rest of the level is pretty easy, bringing our grand total to 22. This is also the first level with a secret exit, something we'll be abusing whenever possible to avoid bananas. Here it doesn't help much since it's at the end anyway, but it's definitely something I'll keep in mind for later worlds. After that, I jumped over to Trunk Twister, the first of many minecart stages. These are not fun to route without bananas at all, but thankfully this one specifically isn't too bad. A surprisingly small amount of bananas are required here, thanks to some careful jumps and even abusing death at both checkpoints. Another useful tool is the Crash Guard, one of Funky's new items. It gives you an extra hit point in both minecarts and rocket barrels, and since we can hold up to 3 items at once, that's 5 total hit points for vehicles, a far cry from the 1 hit point we had in returns. Jumping over obstacles can often give unwanted bananas, but the Crash Guard allows us to plow right through them instead. Here's every banana I couldn't avoid in this stage. 4 right after the first checkpoint, 2 at the top of this massive hill, and 1 from each of these banana lines at the end. Someone else may be able to shave off a banana or 2 with some really precise jumping, but this is the best I could manage. Our grand total is now at 30. Also, since so many people liked my Geometry Dash comparison in the last video, the minecart is basically just the robot game mode with a little more complexity. You're welcome. With the 4 normal levels complete, all that's left is the 2 secret stages, the cave stage, and a boss fight. Pretty simple, right? Not at all. All 4 of these levels, yes, even the boss fight, took me over an hour each. I really was close to abandoning the minimum banana idea and just going back to what I did with returns. But after reaching 1,000 subscribers, I want to show my audience how much effort I'm willing to put into this channel. I'll say it again, thank you guys so much for the support. I never imagined I'd be able to reach this point, and this has been a really incredible experience. I'd like to make a Q&A video so my audience can get to know me a little better, so if you have any questions, please put them in the comments of this video. I'll try to respond to as many of you as possible. But enough stalling, it's time to get into these levels, starting with the easiest of the 4, Busted Bayou. This is the first silhouette level in this game, and ironically enough, it has almost an identical obstacle to the first silhouette level in Returns, Sunset Shore. There I was stopped right at the start, but this time I'm pressing on and going for the minimum. My strategy was to use Cranky Kong to jump off this bird and land right in the middle of the bananas. From here, simply walking forward bypasses the rest and allows us to move on with just 2. After that is this section. It looks bad at first, but we can actually break this wall down here to go under the bananas and continue the level. Things slow down for a while after that until we reach the part that makes this level hard, the giant gap. Normally you're supposed to pull this vine out and walk across, but doing so creates a line of bananas. Believe it or not, there are actually 3 ways to get around this obstacle, 2 easy ones and 1 hard one. Guess which one I decided to try first. That was a ton of fun and super satisfying, but also completely unnecessary. Funky has a super useful new item in this game, the green balloon. It helps you float back up to the stage after falling into a pit, and you can even move side to side and pop it whenever you'd like. This maneuverability is going to be vital later on, but here it's a pretty simple jump and float. The third method to skip this gap is... you can actually just run under all these bananas. Whoops! After that is a barrel section where I had to collect 2 more bananas. I tried to skip it with a green balloon and time my shot perfectly, but neither helped me reduce the number, ending the level with 4 bananas. With our grand total sitting at 34, let's jump over to the boss level, Big Top Bop. So, why are the bosses an actual challenge this time? It's actually super simple. Every time you damage the boss, bananas drop into the arena and don't despawn no matter what you do. This basically means the arena is constantly shrinking throughout the battle since you have less and less places to stand. To help us through, we're going to need 1 more of Funky's items, banana juice. In returns, this stuff gave you a whopping 10 extra hearts, but for this game they changed it up a lot. Now it only activates once you take damage, after which you're completely invincible for about 10 to 15 seconds. A sensible change to be sure, but it certainly makes this boss a lot harder than it would be with 10 hearts. I tried to damage him on the left side as much as I could, but even still, by the end of my successful run, the arena was absolutely filled with bananas. After a little over an hour of tries and a lot of banana juice, I beat the boss with 0 bananas added to the total. Awesome. Just 2 levels left, Zipline Shrine and Swinger Flinger. Both of them took me over 2 hours and easily beat out Ghostly Galaxies, the hardest levels I've done for this channel. Let's start with the easier of the 2, Zipline Shrine. This level just does not stop. Damn near every single obstacle has something for me to talk about, and it made script writing very difficult. I apologize if this section feels overwhelming. Trust me, it did for me too. I'll try my best to make this entertaining and still go over everything. Zipline Shrine has a ton of bananas in it, but also a ton of bottomless pits. When using the green balloon, you can phase through both walls and bananas, allowing us to bypass this first obstacle, Bananaless, by landing on the very edge of this moving platform. I tried to get through without the balloon for over 30 minutes since it seemed so possible, but I just couldn't make it happen. This is significant since we only can carry up to 3 items at a time, meaning we only get to fall into the void 3 times per level at absolute most, less if other items are required too. That may actually come to bite us later since we only have 2 green balloons left for the rest of this level, but let's keep going. This section here had me worried, but with a really slick roll jump off this bug, I slid by with 0 bananas. We get a bit of a break after that, but then we come across this tricky obstacle. I managed to make it through with no bananas, but it was really tight and took quite a few tries. Immediately after is a required barrel section that gives us 20 bananas, followed by the tightest edge jumps I've ever had to do for this game. If you make it past that, you can just fall off this next zip line and land on a very convenient off-screen ledge, then jump onto the trampoline to get rid of the banana bunch. Now jump into the barrel and get ready to use another green balloon. Falling off the zip line doesn't get us to the next barrel, so you have to make a small jump to avoid the bananas and get extra distance. 4 bananas need to be grabbed here, and after that you must climb up the vine as soon as you grab it to avoid this line of bananas, jump into the barrel without grabbing the huge bunch above it, and shoot into the puzzle piece to avoid the bananas. Whew! Finally made it to the last checkpoint. We only have 1 green balloon to work with now, so we'd better make it count. Roll jump off this ledge with Dixie and bounce on the owl to reach the platform. Now it's time for the final major hurdle of this level, and it's easily the hardest part. Here's what you have to do. Jump under this first row of bananas, jump over the second, fall into the void and use your last green balloon to dodge the third and fourth, and finally make a really tight set of jumps to skip the final row and land in the barrel without grabbing any more bananas. This whole level took me over 3 hours, and now that I've explained everything, I'm sure you can see why. This is absolutely not a level I'd recommend trying yourself. It's honestly miserable. So, how the hell is this not the hardest level in the video? If I had played the final level like I did the rest of them, it probably would have been, but for the grand finale I decided to go for a full single segment run. Please enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, Swinger Flinger, no bananas. This is probably the hardest challenge I've ever done in a game, so brace yourselves. So I got 2 green balloons up there and a Dixie barrel. All 3 are absolutely essential for this route. Thank God the balloons don't need to be used till towards the end, so that way I'm not wasting them. If you exit the level and they haven't been used yet, you get to keep them in your inventory, which is very helpful because then I don't have to go buy them anymore every time. That would suck. This is the hardest jump in the level. Oh, it's awful. Okay, I'm glad we got it though. Let's go. Damage boost here. Pretty simple. Oh, that was so close. That jump is really scary. Alright, crouch here. That jump's scary too. Duck under this. Okay, gonna do a little bit of this. Nice. Okay, this has been absolutely perfect so far. Let's hope it stays that way. This is the last really scary part before the end. Oh, okay. Whoa, I have no idea how I didn't get hit. Okay, okay. Oh my god, this is scary. Okay, here it goes. Okay, that was good. That was a really good jump. Okay, there's just one more jump. One more. I am shaking right now, dude. Okay, come on, come on, come on, please, 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 please. Yes! Yes! Let's go! Oh, let's do it. Come on, get it. What are you doing? Okay, yes. Oh my god. Oh, that took like 3 hours. Whew. Finally, a good finale to one of my challenges. It's about damn time. With the K-Stage complete, our grand total for Lost Mangroves comes out to a whopping 58 bananas, and only 2 out of 7 levels were possible with 0. That's a lot of bananas for so much work, so I really hope you guys enjoyed this new format more than what I did for Returns. Please let me know down in the comments. I'd like to continue next time with Autumn Heights, but if enough people would rather me just look at every level and decide if it's possible or not, I'd be willing to go that route too. Regardless of what I do in the future, I hope to see you there. Have a good one!